Hi, welcome to today's episode of the Pending Publishing Roundtable. I'm Dion, and I'm joined here today by Amanda again. We're so happy to have her for the second time. Hi, Amanda. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. So what are you reading this week?
I'm still working through Before the Fall. I have less than 100 pages left, and I was trying to read before dinner tonight. Then my husband said I had to help. So.
Nice. Aw. Sorry. Anything that interrupts.
It'll probably be one of those nights where he goes to sleep and I'm up till like 2 a.m. trying to finish this book because I'm so close now.
No, I'm really interested in this one. So after you were telling us about it last time, I thought, I've got to add that to my to-be read shelf. So have you seen the video? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, it's a lot more of a mystery than I thought it was going to be. That's why I'm at the point where I can't put it down. Where I thought it was just sort of going to be about these people that were in this plane crash, but they don't know why the plane crashed, and it's this mystery now.
Ooh, now it sounds even better.
Yeah.
Did you see the video? I don't know if you watched Peter Mon's YouTube channel, but did you see the video he did about his mother's bookshelf?
No, I should watch it.
Yeah, it was my to be read list went whoosh. So Peter, you'll be happy to know I picked up Siddhartha by Herman Hesse, and he said he's probably saying the name wrong, and I'm probably saying the name wrong, so don't kill me or anything in the comments for saying that wrong. But
that's a good one. I read that one in high school. Yeah, that was one of few in high school I read that I actually enjoyed.
Nice. And then I dip into 2 at a time. So then I'm also doing My Grandmother Sends Her Regards and Apologies. Big fan of Frederick Bachman. I love all the Northern European authors coming out right now, like Jonas Jonasson. And then I read his other one, A Man Called Ove. Really good, really funny. So if you guys are looking for a good, funny book, he's really quirky, really quippy. This one has mixed Goodreads reviews though, so I don't know if it's going to match up to A Man Called Ove, but A Man Called Ove is really good.
That's been on my list for quite a while. I need to get to that one.
Which one?
A Man Called Ove.
Okay. I'll mail it to you if you don't already have it.
Oh,
yeah,
I don't have it.
So when I'm leaving India here, I have to get rid of all my books. I might as well mail them to people. So
yeah,
any of our viewers that have heard us talking about a book and you want it, just leave it in the comments. I'll mail it to you. Might as well.
Yeah, it's so cool. And it's true, yeah, it's better than, having to throw books away or, God forbid.
I know, and it breaks my heart, but it's $200, $100 a kg, so that's $100 to mail 2.2 pounds. So I'm kind of sorry, I'll go to Half Price Books. Since it's just Amanda and I hanging out today, we're gonna skip our fun, embarrassing game for one more week. We really want to get when we have the big panel, 4 or 5 people, we'll pump into that little game then. So we're gonna dive right into the meat and bones of today's conversation. And this is a conversation that we have a lot with some authors who start to struggle, or when I am coaching in the side, when I'm coaching outside authors who are struggling with their business and want to bring it back. And it comes down to, is your writing a hobby? Is it a profession? Is it something that you just want to write for the sake of art? And this has actually been a hot topic if you're on Twitter or Facebook lately, because there has been an article circulating about a writer who debuted her novel to critical acclaim, hit the New York Times bestsellers list, and then promptly went broke. So if you have joined in on that conversation, that's kind of what is spurring today's conversation on. So let's get into it, Amanda. Tell me what you think your writing is. What is your writing? Is it a hobby? Do you consider it a business? There's no wrong answer here, so don't be scared.
so far, I've always kind of considered it to be a hobby that I hoped would one day turn into a business, if that makes sense. Because I would do it. I mean, I do it, even when I don't get paid. I have a blog that I don't get paid for at all, and I just actually am starting to write some book reviews for some websites that don't pay their writers or anything, but I'm reading them anyway. So I was like, I might as well just, type up 400 words about them and like get my name out on other websites, So it's always been a hobby for me that I was hoping one day I could maybe get paid for. And if not, I'm not going to stop writing. So that's kind of where I've always been on the topic. I did read that article, though, about the author that debuted Acclaim and went broke. And the most interesting thing to me was I follow a ton of literary agents on Twitter because they give great advice just on like being in publishing and whatnot. And so many of them were just like, we always tell our authors, don't quit your job. Like, don't quit your job. So like that was just their take. And I was just like,
Yeah. Now, first of all, I just want to say you lie when it comes to if writing is a profession. So for those who don't know, Amanda is a technical writer by trade. So
I forgot about that. That is what I do.
You lie. No. So basically, this is really good. I'm glad you're on this conversation because we can see it from both sides here, both from the writing for pleasure and then writing for work. So what I like about having you on today's panel, not only that I don't have to sit up here and babble by myself, but that you see what it's like to write for a business and how sometimes maybe that's not as fun as writing for pleasure.
That's why I forgot about it, because it's really not very fun.
Yeah, and that's something a lot of writers struggle with once they do quit their day jobs or once they do turn to writing full time. It no longer becomes pleasurable. So if something is a hobby, does it have to quit being a hobby once it starts to become a business?
Never really had a hobby that's turned profitable before, so I don't really know if I have a good answer to this. But I can see where, because there's more pressure, if it's your business and it's not going well, you have writer's block, any number of things could be going wrong. I could see where it would become something that you don't want to do anymore. That would be really hard, and that's exactly how I'm feeling about my full-time job right now. Actually, I'm just so bored.
I can feel you on that. Not with my full-time job. I love my full-time job, but in regards to the technical writing aspect, because my master's was professional writing, and I did it with focus on UX, IX, so like instructional design, building websites, things like that, because I wanted to learn how to build better ebooks. But the technical writing part of it, like when we had to write resumes and memos and cover letters, sure, it's a helpful skill, but I couldn't imagine if I had to do that full time, I think it would take a drain out of enjoying writing. So needless to say, when I graduated, I was like, well, that was a waste of 2 years.
My master's is actually in like the same thing. It's technical and scientific communication is what mine is technically in, but it was very similar sounding. And my job is wonderful. Like I love the company, but I've been spending all day, every day, documenting software. It's just like at some point you use the same word like literally in every line because that's the technical word they want you to use, and it's just sort of like.
It's like when you read a like manual for your vacuum, and you're like, somebody had to write down the vacuum manual.
That's what I do.
Yeah, so writers, when you think about it, everybody is writing. There's always something to be written. There's ad copy, horrible ad copy, good ad copy. There's instructional manuals that have to be written for everything that you purchase. I mean, your blow dryer has an instructional manual. So
Someone has to write that you shouldn't be sitting in the bathtub when you use it.
So, funny story. We just bought a steamer, and it's a handheld steamer, but the instructions specifically say not to steam your face. And I thought
someone did that. Like someone had to have done that.
I thought either somebody did that or the company has been notified that somebody did that for some reason. It's an import from Thailand, so I thought maybe it got lost in translation. But regardless, somebody had to translate the instructions as do not steam your face. So I thought, yeah, I thought, wow, maybe I should get into like translation works. You know, some of these things are really funny, and just like cross-cultural barriers would be really funny.
That would be,
Um,
if they could do like a Tumblr about that.
they have one actually. It's called like
They
English
do?
Funny or something, and
Oh, I have to
it's so great. And because I see so many things here that I'm just like, oh, I should photograph that. It's really funny, but
find it.
you know, it is what it is.
Yeah,
So that little funny snippet there.
yeah. Sorry, derailing us a
Yeah.
little bit.
It's basically that writing can become a business, but when it's not pleasurable, or I'm not saying it's not pleasurable, but there are business ways to write and then there are fun ways to write. So back onto the course of like writing a novel, because these business ways you can supplement your novel writing. And that's something I feel a lot of authors don't do enough, is they just rely on the book and then they don't supplement the side writing. So you can have a blog. Your blog doesn't have to make money. You can write reviews. That doesn't have to make money. But then there are ways to do things such as freelance article writing, or submitting short stories, or entering contests, or just working your ass off to make your book sell. So when it really comes down to it, how do you think an author comes to the conclusion that their writing is a hobby or that their writing is a profession? What is that line for an author?
That's an interesting question. I don't know, actually. Because like all the authors that I know personally, they all have other jobs. So I'm not sure I've ever seen someone, at least not yet, get to the point where they do it full time, like that becomes their only business. Because even I have one friend who writes children's books, and she did quit her day job, but she freelances like crazy. So she didn't really quit doing stuff, you know, like she's still writing in order to like not books. She's still writing other stuff in order to like make money. But I don't know. I don't know where that line would be.
Yeah, and that's great. Sorry, I have like a hair stuck in my lip gloss, and this is really this is one of those calls where we're like, maybe we should have just postponed it, because like
Yeah.
I'm a little loopy this morning. But it's all in good fun. It's what the Roundtable is all about, you know, being honest and just letting it flow. So we've had a couple authors in the past who suddenly decided that just because they had a book that they are, this is kind of my take on it, just because they have a book that suddenly they're like a best-selling author, and that they should, you know, be put on like whirlwind book tours. And you know, I had one author one time who sent me an expense report for the pins that she used to sign her novel at a signing. And I was like, yeah. So I was kind of like, okay, that's a little full of yourself right now to think that you've published one novel and now somebody has to expense your pens for you. And I did it, you know. None of my authors get an idea out of that. You know, I don't want to be reimbursing the gum you chew while you're writing. But that kind of took it into where suddenly they thought that it was kind of like their profession. And I think it's really great to play devil's advocate with that, is it's really great for an author to get into that mode where they work like they are a best-selling author even when they aren't, as long as it doesn't take over their mentality. Now, we had another author one time who was full of I'm trying to think of how to kind of say this, because it is relative to what I see a lot of self-published or non-bestsellers that are published deal with, where the book is on the market and then they feel like all the work that has to be done should be done by somebody else. And then they get into this mode of, but I'm a writer and I write just for the sake of writing, and I write because it makes me feel good. And I feel like if you're not able to control your personal business, if you can't dedicate yourself to having a website that's branded, blogging for yourself, running your personal social media, then perhaps your writing is just a hobby and not something that you want to take to a business. So I suppose through that, just because you're published doesn't mean that your writing is a business. And to make writing a business instead of just a hobby, it takes a lot of work on the part of the author.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and the article that we're kind of like playing off of here comes from a blog called Nail Your Novel. It's on nailyournovel.wordpress.com. And the specific article is your writing a hobby, an art, a business, a vocation, a profession? And so the author of this really wonderful blog gets into it. When she says about hobby, she says she's talking about things that she likes to do, like horseback riding, etc. I think horseback riding. Let me double check that. So, yeah, so she says, I ride horses, I attend dance classes. Her weekly schedule is constructed for those activities, but they're hobbies. I don't kid myself that I can match the standard of real professionals. I'll perform them with dedication, try to improve, but my expectations are capped. I don't have ambitions for them. So simply because you have ambitions for your writing, does that make it a profession? Just because you have ambitions? What do you think?
The way she words it that way, yeah, that does make me think it would be a profession, even if it's like a side profession, if you want to say it that way. But when she words it like that, that's true. Like, I run as a hobby, but I'm never going to go to like the Olympics for running, because that would make it take all of my time and I wouldn't be able to work outside of it. You know, it wouldn't be fun because it'd be a job. So I could see both sides of that, actually, because like you want writing to stay fun, but if you want to get published, that means you do have ambition at the same time. So I didn't answer your question at all. I just went in circles.
But it was kind of your feedback. And I think that is something that authors do need to think about is, do you have ambitions for your writing? And if you have ambitions for your writing, why would you not take care of those ambitions to continue to move them to the next step? Like, what do you think causes a writer to want to get published and then not have any follow through to see that business through to meet their goals? This happens a lot. It does happen a lot where suddenly the book is on the market, the writer is published, and then whoosh, like their dreams dissipate. And I always tell my authors, when it's your first book, you know, we're a small boutique publishing company, judge yourself off the relationships that you build. Don't judge yourself off the sales. Because if you're consistently building relationships, then the sales will eventually come. And the sales tend to hit really hard, of course, during your launch period. And then it's the time after the launch period where the author really has to work or they lose their attention. And that's when they start kind of going into that rut.
Sure.
So business-wise, I don't know what's going on today. So the blog writer goes on to say, if you're writing as a business or profession, sums are important. You have to be careful about the time you invest. You have to make sure your book will repay in terms of sales or be a gateway to another kind of income, such as speaking, consultancy. If you're buying equipment or services, are you just indulging yourself or do you need them? What is the investment of your writing? And that is something that business owners think of. You know, business owners that are successful don't just open a business without a business plan. I know that you just kind of finished our new author training, but have you made a business plan for yourself yet?
I haven't yet. It's on a long to-do list of things I need to do.
Yeah.
But
that was a bad place for that to zoom in on. I'm like,
thinking about what she said, though, that is interesting. It made me think of like everyone when they are working for like another company, they're always thinking about like what they're paid per hour.
mm-hmm.
So thinking about what she said in the blog post, it like, so you sort of have to make it worth your money, like, or not your money, your time, because if you think about it and like how much you would be earning per hour, some people are probably working like for $1 an hour or something. If you're gonna look at writing like freelancing and stuff that way, you're working a lot harder than what like minimum wage would be. It's just an interesting way to look at it. I better write a business plan so I'm not working for $1 an hour.
And the other reason I feel like as an author, your business plan doesn't have to be super intense. I tell my authors just to do a one-page business plan, but it helps you not only set goals, but to approach it in a way that gives you accountability and success. So for instance, David O'Sullivan wrote a one-page business plan last year, and he said that he wanted to sell so many books. So I said, here's one way to look at it. If you want to sell this many books, we need to get XXX reviews. And to get, 1,000 reviews, let's say every review that's out sells 2 books. So he wanted to sell 2,000 books. So I tell him, we need to find 1,000 reviews. So to find 1,000 reviews, we need to query, 500 book blogs a month. Out of those 500 book blogs a month, you might get, 10 to 25 actual reviews. So, as the process goes up, the more the book is out, the more people are talking about it, then it goes from 2 books per review to 3 to 4 to 5. So based on his business plan, we were able to put a scale together and say, okay, now let's take this and let's split this down, and you find half the reviewers, I'll find half the reviewers, and then I'll query all of them and manage the queries and the sending of the books. And that's because he had the business plan, so we could look at it from a business perspective instead of just flying blind. And the other thing that I like about what she said is your time is valuable. And I tell our authors too, I say, make yourself a budget. Because a lot of authors will spend like $5 here, $10 here, and then the next thing they know, they've spent way more than they'll ever get out of their book, so they're feeling like a failure. And it doesn't have to be that way. And if you have a budget from the beginning, as an author, you either need to invest your time or you need to invest your money. So either you're going to be spending more time or you're going to be spending more money. Which one are you most comfortable with to get the outcome that you want? So I feel sense. And this is kind of hard to talk about because writing for many people, I think deep down, is a hobby. It's a passion. And I think a lot of authors are scared to turn it into that business role because they're afraid to lose that passion. But it doesn't have to be that way. Once you get successful, you're going to keep loving it, and then it will just go, 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 go. Not everybody can be James Patterson and spend $20,000 on billboards for your first book to become a bestseller with, that's, it's really interesting if you look at James Patterson because he now has 27 ghostwriters that help him write his books. He just launched his book shots category of short books. His first one sold 3 million copies when it opened. And when he put his first book out, he got it onto the bestseller charts on his own, not his publishing company. So he's a completely self-made author.
I didn't know that about him.
Yeah, he bought the billboards around his hometown and some other places. When you hear him talk about it, it's somewhere in between like the $20,000 to $50,000 range that he invested on billboards. But not everybody can do that, I know a lot of people with the liquidity to just pop up billboards and television ads like he did to get themselves. So if you don't have that liquidity, but you dream of being on that New York Times bestseller, you got to put the work in and then think of how is that work going to be possible. So, God, I am rambling.
I don't mind.
So in her next section, she talks about something called crossovers, and it's she says as she's writing this piece, and it occurs to her that there are crossovers. So hobbyists and artists are not that far apart in terms of devotion. So just because it might not be a business for you doesn't mean that you're going to lose devotion. And this is an interesting fact that she says. She says, in my hobbies, I don't compare myself to others. A hobby is something we enjoy, give or take the odd teething trouble or bad hair day, so that's her private life there. But you keep a sense of proportion. So many serious authors will find writing hard, and then they also basically tend to compare themselves to other people. But does that comparison automatically mean it's a business just because you're comparing yourself to people? And I think in hobbies you do compare yourself to people, because if your painting is a hobby, so I don't think that comparison, if you're comparing yourself to other people, it means it's not a hobby.
Yeah, I don't think that that's necessarily the dividing line for making something a hobby or not. Because just to go back to what I was saying about running, like where I'm never going to go to the Olympics. I do have like goals to run the Boston Marathon sometime when you need qualifying time. So I'm always comparing myself to people. I'm never going to be super fast, but there's always some kind of comparison,
So you'll never be on that 100-meter line with Sherry Fraser Price.
No. Well, maybe if I'm like lucky one day, I could just be standing there like, hi.
Yeah, love your hair today. So we're big track and field people in this family. So we watch like the World, the Diamond, the Olympics, and
Oh yeah.
yeah. So I feel you on that. It's more my husband, let's be honest. But it's fun. It's fun to watch, and think about, oh man, if only I could run. And then I'm like, nah, I want chocolate today, not doing it.
I do still eat chocolate, so.
Well, dark chocolate is actually supposedly really healthy for you. And depending on the levels, it's not so bad, So
this
whatever.
Is definitely related to what you're talking about. I'm glad we're having this conversation.
Absolutely. So we're closing down on our half hour here. So I guess like my final take on this is if you find yourself saying something like, I write for myself, I write because I enjoy the art, I write because somebody might read it, then chances are you're probably not that serious about your writing, and you should probably look at self-publishing or putting it out through free modes like Wattpad, some of these other kind of fan fiction sites, because once you sign a contract with the publisher, you're working on their money. So it now needs to be looked at as a business. And whether that's a small publisher or whether it's a large publisher, the moment that you put your book into someone else's budget and someone else is paying the bills on your book and they say, hey, write 3 blogs, you should be writing 3 blogs, not getting on your Twitter feed going, oh, writing is a business, and they just want you to be a brand and they don't care about your writing. Because if that's how you really feel, then you should be self-publishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you're not taking yourself seriously. You're not taking the business seriously. And when you have that mentality, you're probably not going to be successful. So instead of having a publisher tell you, you're not successful, we're dropping your book, know ahead of time if you feel that you are capable of running a business. Because it's not like it was for Twain and Dickens, where all you had to do was write a really good book now. There's 4,000 books published every single day. So how are you going to stand up against those 4,000 books? If you don't think you're capable of running a business, or if you don't think your writing is a business, then, and if you're not willing to do like a business plan or any type of self-packaging on your personal branding, then maybe it is a hobby for you, and then that's where self-publishing comes in.
I agree. You have a very interesting perspective on it, just because these are things I had never really thought about before talking with you about it.
Cool.
So,
yeah. Generally, I like to think of myself as really nice and supportive, but then there comes a point where when you cross a line, I'm kind of like, okay, goodbye. So where it comes down to the fact, like if, no publisher is going to write your personal tweets for you, but if I spent 10 hours cataloging your entire website and I write 300 tweets for you, so that way you have 2 months of independent tweets to put out and you don't just upload them into Hootsuite, then that tells me that you're lazy and you're not the caliber of author I want to work with.
Right, yeah, because that was a lot of work.
Yeah, we did some crazy things a couple of years ago, and I just kept believing that, there's some authors who just need that push to turn their writing into a business, and that they're so close to being into that business writing, but at the end of the day, they, in my opinion, really fell into the hobby writing. And it's just, I think it really comes down to that personal opinion of yourself. And I think a lot of authors block themselves from turning their writing into potential success because they're afraid to make that organized step to lose their passion.
That makes sense based on the other writers I know in life. I think a lot of them would be afraid to make that leap.
Yeah, because I'm the queen of the whips. So as I'm getting ready, to put out one of my personal Books probably 2018 or 2017 schedule is full, so it'll probably be 2018. I'm already thinking about, I have to build my blog, I have to work on my social media, I have to do everything that I coach you guys on, that like I've professionally studied and researched and coached successful authors on. But it is very intimidating, so I do understand how that is very difficult, because then something that you've bled your heart and soul and spent hours crafting, now you have to look at as a business.
Mm-hmm.
So that passion can get lost a little bit in there. So
it's all good information though. Like, sorry, you were saying something about final.
No. I was just going to say,
still talking.
I was going to say, do you have any final thoughts? Like, if an author comes up to you and says, I just got published and I want to be successful. I feel like we give our authors a very intensive training program, something that maybe a lot of other publishers. And I think that's because I want all of my authors to be successful. And, even if they leave our family, I want them to be able to be successful on their own or with another publisher, and give them the tools that they need to succeed forever. And so after kind of going through that, I think that's something that I feel is unique to pen name publishing. What advice would you give to an author who says, I'm going to get published, I don't want to end up as just a statistic, as one of the typical books that only sells 150 copies a year? What would you tell them? What's just one or two pieces of advice to help them push them into getting into business mode?
I wish I had come prepared. I think one thing I would probably say is to really utilize social media, just because that's such a good way to meet people. And, if you build the relationship, then you'll be more likely to get them to read your book. Even just by knowing you, they'll be like, oh, you have a book. That's cool. I should try to read it. And I've just found that just being on Twitter, talking to a lot of other writers, a lot of other authors, that they really support each other. So if you can get to be part of that community, that would be one really good, really good step in the right direction. And the other one I think is to just keep writing. Like, even if it is blog posts, even if it's, things that seem insignificant, it's still writing. It's still working on sentence structure and, all the things, all the very core building blocks that you need to build a bigger story at some point later on. So I probably could have worded that better if I'd come prepared, but that's what I would say.
No, and honestly, that's like, roundtables aren't just about like being prepared. It's about coming like with honest, on the fly, as the conversation flows, whatever direction it goes, and being real, because you can't always, you can't always be perfect. But that's such good points, because the writing community is so supportive. And I'm a firm believer that when one author wins, every author wins with them. So when you're seeing all these Twitter wars between authors, and there's been a big romance writer Twitter war going on lately that's been blogged about and written about, why would you want to tear down another author or somebody who can be in your corner? And all it takes is being on like Twitter or some writing groups to meet other writers, and they know what you're going through. They're going to cheer you on. They're going to be supportive. And it's a real big industry of, hey, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So read my book, I'll read yours. And then all it takes is maybe 10 of those, and then you've got this following and it's out. So if you look at people like Colleen Hoover, she started self-published. She was one of the first people, I think, to hit 1 million books self-published. Don't quote me on that.
So she's a really good example of this, though.
Yeah, and she will tell you, she went out there with a business plan, she had a marketing strategy, and she worked really hard. So she went from being self-published with her first book, Slam, to now being at a top 5 publisher, constant bestseller list, selling over 1 million copies. And it's because she utilized her fellow authors and that community that's so available at your fingertips. Yeah, so definitely. My last kind of takeaway to feed off of what you said, so social media and write all the time. The more you write, the less you're going to lose that passion. So don't let the business end overtake that passion. And if you feel like it is, it's okay to step away for like a week or so. We have some authors right now who are going through really difficult personal times, so they're kind of backed off. And we have some authors who are on a social media freeze to focus on their writing because they feel like they lost that. And that's okay. Sometimes you have to do that. So know your boundaries and know when you have to step back out of certain roles in order to create that future for you. You know, and you don't always have to be perfect all the time. It's a growing and learning experience as you're an author. You have to find your footing. You have to figure out what you want for your business, what your goals are. And it's okay to constantly modify those as you go.
Good advice.
Yay! So that was a great conversation, I think. And it's real, you know, it is what it is. It's coming from the author's perspective. It's coming from publisher. One day, if I ever put the book out, get over that hurdle. I'll be on your side with you. But I do a lot of freelance writing and article writing, you know, so I've got, I understand that, the querying and putting yourself out there on like freelance articles and such. That ship, that was going into an actual formed thought, and it is now gone. So I guess like just kind of in closing here, if you will give Amanda a chance to tell you where she's, how to find her, how to talk to us, but you can talk to us on Facebook, continue the conversation. Let us know about your writing, how you know it's a business, how to take it into a business, advice that you would give to authors who want to be a little more business oriented with their writing or who might be struggling. You can reach us on Twitter at FP Bookworks. You can hit us up at FrenchPressBookworks.com. You can find us on Facebook, Facebook.com/FrenchPressBookworks. We love to talk to you, so talk to us all the time. Even our other authors in the pen name publishing family will be more than happy to talk to you. If you want to join our panel in the future as a guest, as an expert guest, you can go to French Press Bookworks, the author roundtable in the menu. You can see what upcoming discussions we're going to have, and you can sign up to be a guest panelist on one of those discussions. And if you are an author who's kind of struggling with going into the business, creating it as a business, I am a certified goal achievement coach, and I can help you kind of turn that around. So just reach out to me at Girl vs. City, and we can go through a program to kind of help you turn it into a business, get more into it, make sure you don't lose your passion, and get you going through that. So Amanda, tell them how they can find you, how they can talk to you, and a little bit about your upcoming pen name publishing release. I don't know what that was. I'm like, you know, Hillary Clinton at the debate. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. You had frozen, so I was like, I think I'm supposed to talk soon, but I don't know.
Great. Well, that's probably just the internet saying, shut up, Dion, enough. So tell the great internet world how they can find you.
Okay, so I'm on Twitter at Amanda Marie GH, and I'm on Instagram at the same place. I've been starting to post more Instagram pictures of like books and reading and kind of straying a little into the Bookstagram. It's been kind of fun. I'm on Facebook at Amanda Gernentz Hansen as an author page, so you can find me there. And then, my blog is browneyed20something.com.
Yeah, and so the good thing about our authors that I love is all of our authors have taken the time to brand themselves, and they're consistent across all their platforms. So, you know, check out Amanda's Twitter, and then check out her website and see how she brands herself, and use the two to kind of play off of each other, and maybe get some ideas for your own platform if you're struggling with it, because Amanda is actually one of our new authors releasing in 2017, but she's already hard at work on her platform. And I love the Bookstagram picture you did. Your ring is beautiful.
Yeah, thanks.
I was like, oh, that's so cute. Speaking of real quick, have you heard of Litsy?
Yes, I'm on Litsy too. I always forget about Litsy. I think, so I don't know if you have a username on Litsy or if it's just your name, but I love Litsy.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, it's Goodreads meets Instagram.
Yeah.
It just came out for Android this week, and I was so happy because I put it on my husband's iPad, but because he travels so frequently, he'll delete apps, and so I'll put it on. Yeah, I'll put it on, and then he'll like delete it, and he'll come back and I'll be like, so I'll put it back on, and then he'll travel again and he'll delete it. So now that it's on Android, I can finally put it on my phone. So if you're out there in the book world, Litzy is a great opportunity. It's one more social platform that an author can use because we don't have enough already to try to master. But it's basically you can take pictures of books, put quotes of books up, and give your review in visual format. So it's basically a professional bookstagram platform. So
yeah, it's really cool. And one thing I found on Litzy is that Liberty Hardy, she's on Book Riot. She's part of the Book Riot staff. She will like everything. So she really like boosts anyone's post. Like you get more cred in Litzy for the more likes you get, and she'll like everything. It's amazing.
Great. So Liberty, if you have a lot of people stalking you after this, we had nothing to do with it.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah. On that note, I'm going off to play on my Litzy account. So yeah, reach out to us. I don't know if I froze when I was saying that if you are an author out there looking for help going into getting a better plan for yourself and moving up in that business, just to reach out to me at Girl vs. City, and I can help you put together a plan for that. So have a fantastic night, Amanda. Thank you so much for giving us your time and really kind of chatting us about this and kind of going off the rails with me, sometimes making it fun. Sometimes you have to, sometimes you have to introduce a little of the unknown into there, you know, and just like with business, sometimes you just have to get off the rails, reset. So we will put the blog in the comments or in the description section. I'll put Amanda's information in the description section as well. And we will see you next week. Head over to French Press Bookworks Author Roundtable to see what we will be chatting about. And final thing real quick before we go, we will have an upcoming live query workshop. We will be having an author who has been published top 5, James Stryker, is going to be joining us as our query expert to walk authors through creating a query. So if you're an author who needs help writing your query, you can sign up. We will take 5 authors for this workshop to work with me and James in crafting a good query for you, and that is October 25th. So sign up. We want you.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool.
So excited. We actually, James queried us, and his writing is fantastic, but just a little too sci-fi, and he just would kind of stick out of the family. So I really, really wanted his writing. He's an excellent writer, but it just wouldn't be fair to him to steal him away. So instead, he's going to be our expert on our workshop. So he's a great writer. Check him out and join us on the 25th. Sign up on the website if you want to be on the author panel as an expert, or just on any of our future upcoming workshops, or even if you just want to suggest an idea for something you need help with, tweet me at FP Bookworks or Girl vs. City, and we will set up a roundtable or workshop to work with you. So enjoy your evening, Amanda, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, enjoy your day.
Okay, bye guys.